Camera's rolling.
Baby, I'm too young to know any better, but I guess I'm just too old to care. I'm waiting on the morning light to clear the air. Now the sky is on with regret, letting go that you pay flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the one that you created. The one that you hated. Now the sky is on with regret, letting go that you pay flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the one that you.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dad Talk Today, Dad Talk Tuesday. Hope everybody is doing well. We are live. Want to hear from you guys. Really quick before we start the show, do me a favor. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Ding the bell so you get the notifications when we go live. Many ways you can support this show. As always, down there at the bottom, Dad Talk Today, no spaces. That's Cash App, Venmo, Patreon. We got super chats and memberships over on YouTube, and we got the same thing over on Facebook. I didn't get to all of you guys' voicemails yesterday because we had the Jeff Younger thing that we was going through. Hey, Lauren, Jules, XL, Father X, what's going on, guys? I do have a little bit of an update. I don't have as much as I would like to give you. But in this particular case, just to let everybody know, Jeff did get to see his sons like a week ago, and he's planning on seeing them again in a couple of weeks. I had a great visit with his son. That is one of those cases, man, like I said, just really, really blowing my mind. Father's Resistance, MJ, what's going on, guys? But we're going to continue on. Like I said, I didn't get to all of you guys' voicemails yesterday, so I'll be playing those. But want to hear from you guys real quick. How are you doing? How has everything been shaken? Any new things going on? Like I said, we had a lot going on here at Dad Talk Today. I'll probably get some of the people that we shot the films on the show sometime soon to let you know some of the things that's going on. We've already got like our next 4 films ready in the works. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's going to be really good stuff, man. But yesterday's topic goes back to child support. And I know we've covered child support many times. Sometimes there's new viewers. Jeff, Deborah, what is going on, guys? Thank you for being here. I know we've covered child support many times, but no matter what it is that we're talking about, it all comes back to the system. The system is about making money. Everything that we're seeing goes back to that almighty dollar. It really does. Tom, what's going on? Let me go to a different topic this morning. One thing I want to start covering, I realize that I'm maybe not the most knowledgeable, but I'm going to find the ones that are, is our veterans. I spent this morning, went to the gym. Afterwards, I met with a bunch of veterans talking about the trauma they were going through, what it was like being in the Army and doing all this stuff, all this stuff in the Army, being trained for battle and everything. And then when they get back home, they're told to sit down and just be, a dad, sit down, watch Nickelodeon or whatever. These are people that were trained to go to war, man. Now they're just sitting back and trying to live a normal life. And it starts breaking up their marriages and other things. Some of the PTSD and the trauma that they're going through. I really want to start making some resources for our guys out there. Pissed Off Parent said it doesn't appear you're streaming live on Facebook. It's saying it is on my end, guys. I've got plenty of comments coming in from Facebook. If you can see us on Facebook, say hi. But again, if you are watching, like, share, subscribe. We need to get that going. I'm going to go ahead and roll into the voicemails a little bit earlier today because I didn't get to all of them. And we'll listen to them and we'll talk a little bit after that. If you got some voicemails, I'm planning on doing that somewhat all week. I got a special broadcast coming up a little bit later on this week where we'll be talking to the fathers down in Australia. And just to note, it sucks because I'll say this on here and then people ask me the same question, not even 30 minutes later, because not everybody gets to see what's on the broadcast. However, I've been getting a lot of inquiries out of Canada, man. The Canadians are fired up saying, we need something. We need something. Same thing in England, same thing in Australia, many of these other countries. Guys, we got stuff planned. Okay. I think the thing that sucks is being one of the louder voices. You want to make resources for everybody, but we're doing everything we can. But we have seen a need in these other countries to make sure that this is going out there. And every country you go to, they got their own set of laws, the same way as the states do. You know, I was talking to a father the other day that's wanting to get some pro se resources out there. And he's saying this, and this about the system. I was like, yeah, but it's different in some of the other states. It can be very confusing, man. It's hard to organize on the level that we need to, but it doesn't mean we can't do it. It means we just need to change up our strategy. Jimmer Wilkinson, what's going on, brother? Rob Ramos, what is going on, guys? Sorry, I'm a little low energy today. I'm tired. I've still got a little bit of jet lag from the trips. And it's crazy, man. So like we go to Colorado, right? The air was so thin there. So thin. And I didn't even realize it. Me and the guys went working out and we were just struggling. I ended up having to get canned air. That's the first time I've ever had to do canned oxygen. And as much snow as there was, like when we were up at Sophia's grave, I had to take my jacket and everything off. I was hotter in Colorado than I was here with all the snow. Crazy. And then we get to Detroit and everything was perfect, right? Everything was perfect. It was the last day. It had been just normal weather. On the last day, I was like grieving for my family, dude. We stayed so busy. I think it was up until about day 8 that it finally hit. And it was like, oh man, I'm homesick. I really am. I missed them the second I walked away from them, but that was the moment that it really hit. And on that last day, I was so excited. Man, about 6 o'clock that night, out of nowhere, here comes a blizzard. Our plane got delayed like 6 times, dude. If you guys haven't had to be to the airport lately, it is a mess, you know. And being from Georgia, Atlanta, one of the hubs, a lot of those flights are coming out of here. MJ said, "Thank you so much for what you're doing here, sir." Thanks, man. Thanks, man. Matthew, I answered your email about South Carolina yesterday, man. Make sure you go through that. Jules, what is going on? Julie? Is that Julie? I think you got a new profile. It's crazy, man. As long as we've been doing this, I recognize a lot of these names, and I'm glad to see you guys showing up each and every single day. Like I said, we'll have some fresh stuff coming up here soon, and I hope the community really supports it. A lot of hard work that went on, and I want to say thank you to my team. Let me tell you, some of these guys have never covered family law stories, and just at the end of the trip, them looking at me saying, "Oh my God, I didn't know any of this was going on." This morning, I'm in the gym talking to all these guys. We start talking about Section 8 and how you can't have a man in the house, and how the African-American community has just got completely torn apart with the fathers. We started talking about Title 4D and the incentives that are coming out. Nobody knew about it, right? And there's a little way to do it. And I could tell you, man, that just at, getting people curious in the conversation. The next thing is, I want to know more about that. I didn't know that was going on. Crazy. In the beginning, when they heard that I was talking about divorce, you could tell there wasn't much interest there at all. Anyway, dude, my nose is going crazy. If you're down in the South right now, that's what I meant to say. Like the snow was so bad, dude. And then I come back to Georgia. It's nothing, like my whole yard is yellow. It looks like we're in an episode of Simpsons. This pollen, dude, crazy. When I was a kid, it didn't mess with me as bad. It does now. Let me get to a few. If you got some questions for me, guys, before I get into the, yes, Jeremy, bad pollen in Georgia. My house, my car, everything, dude. And killing me right now. Tracy Palma, how you doing? Glad to see you here, Miss Mandalorian. Man, I'm sorry. I guess the first quarter of the show is me just saying hey to people. I missed all you guys. But if you got a few questions, put them down in there before I get to the voicemails. I'm going to make this one a little bit of a shorter episode. I got a lot of meetings coming up, guys. So, and I hope you enjoyed some of the dad talk replays. I know those aren't as exciting when I can't talk one-on-one with you, but I want to sit down and make a video that shows you guys just what all has been done in the past 3.5 years, because it's even unbelievable to me. I mean, when we went out to Colorado, I had completely forgot about helping get that tombstone, for Sophia. It was just one of the many things that we've did, but those were some of the episodes from the past. If you got to see the one the other day with Ray McElrathbey, he's actually a really good friend of mine. If you haven't seen the Disney movie Safety, please go and check that out. Really good movie. So to give you a little backstory on that, and he was with us the whole week in Michigan last week, man. He was a guy that got a scholarship to go play football with Clemson. Okay. He grew up his whole life. His mom was a crack addict. Okay. He had a really hard life growing up, but here he goes. He gets this scholarship because he's really good at football, and he gets into Clemson. Right after he gets into Clemson, his mama got caught with drugs again, and she was going to have to go into rehab. Unfortunately, his younger brother, because this happened to her, was going to be put in the foster care system. And he called his brother Ray, and he said, Ray, please don't let me go to the system, man. I don't want to be a part of the system. But Ray, he's in college. He's on that scholarship. They can't accept any a type of assistance or anything, or you can get in really big trouble. But Ray went and signed for custody of his younger brother, man, became his dad. Okay. And then goes to Clemson and just lets his brother stay there. Eventually somebody caught on that he was there, and he was going to get in a lot of trouble because you can't take assistance. But when the local community heard about it, they all voted to make sure that he got the assistance that he needed. Some of the things that you didn't see in the movie is, look, he didn't just adopt his brother, dude. At one point in time, he adopted his sister as well. And not just that, I'm sorry, Disney, I just got to ask. They mentioned nothing about the father. In the movie, it's like he was non-existent, right? His father was one of the most consistent things in his life. His father was the manager of one of the managers of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, one of the biggest papers in the United States of America. And he said there was times they would come home and they called it fire sale. He said our video games would be gone, our clothes would be gone, our food would be gone. His dad had to collect money from his job, and times the money was getting stolen all to go feed that crack habit. And it got to a point where dad said, I can't do this anymore. I have to pull away. But he was just completely excluded from this. And you can't sit down and talk to Ray about his dad without him just bawling, dude, because he loved his dad so much. But he also showed him a lot of disrespect when he was younger, because he didn't know how to respect his father and didn't know what he's got until it's gone. So we're going to be doing a good bit with Ray coming up. If you didn't see that episode from the other day that we did on Ray McElrathbey, check it out and make sure to go watch the Disney Plus movie. It's called Safety. Okay, that is a true story. It was based upon his life. So I think you guys are really, really like that. Let me get to this. Mr. General Miller there on YouTube said, my question is that judges are supposed to be unbiased. However, they always side with the alcoholic, abusive mom instead of a loving father who has his life together. So I can understand some of the details that you're saying there. It's not just about like siding with an alcoholic, abusive mom, but the moms all together. I've seen the cases where the dads would be like, look, they're not taking care of her. I feel like my kids, I feel like something's going on. They've got substance abuse. They've got all these other issues. And no matter how much evidence this father's got, nothing is done. It's the same thing with the case that we just left in Detroit, guys. Jonathan Vanderhagen went and reported all of this, Miller. Okay. And not long after that, his son died. This was a guy that went through the system, did everything that they told him to do, and it failed him. It failed him on so many levels. And that hurts my heart so bad, because it's like, if you're a man, we're just not going to listen to anything you got to say. And it sucks. Even on this show, if you get somebody from the outside listening to all the struggles that you guys are going through, they're going to find some reason not to listen to what you are saying. But I definitely have to agree with you on that, man. Charles Rosalie, we fathers can stop this tyranny by uniting. Yeah, dude, absolutely. Lauren, he said, what platform will you guys be using for the documentaries? I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. We're creating I want to create something for the community. Obviously, Okay. It took a lot of money to make these. This isn't something that was cheaply done, but it's also not something that was funded by the community either. I know you guys don't have money, but the fact that somebody's given us the opportunity to make these, I think it'd be like $3 or $5 to view each one of these that are made. And I'm telling you, dude, it is going to take a lot of views in order to be able to even break even on it. At the same time, I'll know that a little bit more. We're talking about cases like Jeff Younger. Okay. Putting that on a regular platform, I have to be very careful about what I'm saying. And we don't just run away from the conversation. We need to be able to say what needs to be said. I'll be a little honest with you guys. I had a network deal that got put on the table for me a little over a month ago, and I turned it down. And I'm going to tell you, when you're in one of these positions, that's hard. They wanted rights to dad talk for a long period of time. And the thing that scares me is somebody getting control of this platform that I have pumped all my energy and passion into, not just for myself, but for you guys, for the future generation. And then them to tell me, oh, you can't talk about that. You're talking too much about that. You can't do that bull crap, man. We're rebels. So we're going to do it independently. Do I know how it's going to be done yet? I'm just being completely honest with you, Lauren. No. But as soon as we know, you'll know, and it's going to happen quick. Okay, because we're not planning on messing around with this, guys. These will be coming out very quick. Jimmer, when can we all attend one of these meetings? I'm not too sure I know what you're talking about there, brother. Okay, I got a update from Jeff Younger's fiance, Gwen. She said the minimal incident is the mother's lawyer finally entering the order from the September 2022 hearing. By not entering order after September 2022 hearing, there was nothing to object to, thereby allowing the mom to move to California, specifically to avail of new California law making chemical surgical procedures on minors legal. You know, I am so ashamed in the state of Texas for allowing this to happen. And Gwen, I got to be honest with you. I know Jeff ran, but I don't care which side of the aisle it is, whether it was the left or the right. I feel like they all failed him. I feel like the churches failed him. I feel like many people failed James. And to see every time that Jeff fights harder, this is what happens. You know, it's crazy, man. It is so crazy. I am going to get to these voicemails though, guys. It's good to know that he got to see his kids. And I hope that we get some more updates on that case sometime soon. As I get them, I'll definitely make sure to get them out. And if you want to keep updated on that, as much as I want to tell you what's going on, and we will tell you what's going on, if you want to specifically get the details as they happen, make sure to follow Save James. They're on Facebook. Great organization that has been following James and Jeff Younger's case all of the way. I can tell you again, I believe like Jeff Younger was the guinea pig when it comes to these type of issues. He was one of the first, and it definitely was a spotlight. I think it had a worldwide spotlight on it, but he is not the only. Since Jeff's case, there is numerous of these cases that are going on. They're not quite getting the airplay that Jeff's was because he was the first, but it's the next thing about to hit family law, guys. And most people, I think that sounds ridiculous until it makes its way to them. If you're not paying attention to these public schools and some of the trash that's being taught to our kids, you might need to pay attention. All right, guys, keep those voicemails coming in. 762-441-0281. I'm going to get to our first call.
Hey, Eric, how you doing? My name is Mark Olivo, Olivo. I'm on Long Island, New York. I've been fighting for my daughter for now close to 3 years. She was basically abducted from my house about 12 days before I was going to trial for residential custody. I had filed for residential custody because she wasn't being raised properly. Let's just keep it at that. I had raised 2 daughters already with the same mother. I've been fighting family court ever since May 7th, 2020. The mother pressed false charges against me after taking Ella from my house without my knowledge and consent. All the charges were eventually dismissed 2 years later because of the pandemic. But I am still not allowed to even see my daughter. They've been postponing and canceling. This whole time she's been alienated, manipulated, and everything imaginable has been done to her. She stopped going to school. The mother now has filed to homeschool her. She stopped going to school because I used to pick her up every day from school since preschool. I had 60-40 custody prior to her being abducted from my house. I was virtually raising her on my own and doing an amazing job, from what I was told. I don't know how much longer I can keep up the fight. It pretty much has bankrupted me. I am now down to using illegal aid. And there's absolutely no reason on earth why I shouldn't be seeing my daughter. I have no prior convictions. I have no drug uses. I did nothing. I have no convictions now. All the charges, fake charges, were dismissed. And I'm at the point where you mentioned in one of your shows where I just might have to leave. I can no longer live where I am without having my daughter in my life. And I know you probably hear many, many stories like this. And I just thought, I guess I just called him to vent a little bit. Thanks, Eric, and you're doing a wonderful job out there. Thank you so much.
Brother, can you guys give him some words of encouragement down there? I had several thoughts, listen to that. Even these people that can fight off the false allegation, right? All that time that's taken away, whether it takes them 2 or 3 years, and it can take a lot longer than that. No matter if they can finally get that overturned, they lose in every single way. And so does the child. This was a case where it sounded like he was taking care of the girls, and then out of the middle of nowhere, mom took him away, and then an accusation kept him from getting those kids back. Then what does he do? Just as much as I was talking about, this is one of the other points that I want to make is, I was talking about the dangers of public school. One thing I have seen common with like alienation is, as much as I believe in homeschool and parents taking care of their kids, and once upon a time, I wasn't completely on board with that. I think that kids, get a lot by being around other kids and interaction. At the same time, I have seen where the homeschooling, breastfeeding, and other stuff is used to keep the control of the kid. One thing that could be a little bit of relief for these parents when they're going through alienation is that school, to where they can pick the kid up from school and not have to come in contact with that other parent. So some of these things that would normally look good ends up making the other parent vulnerable to the bullcrap that's going on. And I am just so sorry that you're going through this, man. I'm glad that you came here to vent. And that's what it's for. Even if sometimes you guys don't know what you're saying or where you're going with it. Please feel free to use it. That's what the platform is for. Dad Talk Today was an idea that came to me in the darkest moments of my life, when I was at work, trapped inside of my head, feeling like nobody understood what I was going through. It's so easy for the outside world to criticize what you've got going on. If you can't afford to go to the courts, you're not alienated. You're just somebody that doesn't want to go. I would do anything that it takes. I'd pay anything. Yeah, I bet you would. You're not the one that's getting that bill. You're not the one that's having to go through this. It is so easy for guys to criticize you and not know what that battle is like. It absolutely cripples you. And then these guys end up getting to a point to where they're like, I can't do it anymore. I can't afford it. And when I do, it doesn't do me any good anyway, because it's always stacked against me. Telling these guys that there is relief inside of those walls, dude, where this thing known as family court goes down. I have a very big problem with that. People will take my words and twist it because they don't like the way that I say things, right? Because I am not promoting the money in the system and the game, right? Oh, he's telling people not to show up to their court dates. No, I'm not. I'm telling you, I don't trust the courts at all. Okay. If you are summoned to go, you need to go and you need to do what you need to do. At the same time, I think instead of doing some of the things that we've been doing, we need to be asking for the courts to be completely revamped. And I believe if there was millions of fathers that got together and said, this is it, we're going to go on strike. Okay. We're going to go on strike and say that you do this. And our voices are going to keep getting louder and louder until you realize what's going on. It really is the only chance I feel like we've got, guys. And I'm going to tell you, that's going to be hard. It's going to be very, very hard. Again, it's every day you hear something about a march or doing something like this. These guys are at work. I cannot stress this enough. If you're somebody that's going through this system, missing one day of work is critical to these guys. They can't organize like some of these other groups. We always get the men's rights movement compared to all these other movements. It is completely different. This movement is built upon the backs of broken dads, not just broken mentally and physically, but financially. It is hard for them to do anything. And then that's why I say stuff like what we're doing right now is so important. If we can at least get them here, get the voices going to where it becomes really loud. Hopefully they'll see what's going on, because I know we represent millions. I dare say billions. Men, you're the other half of the world. Okay. The world doesn't exist without you. It looks like you got this big fight stacked against you. And I know they got a lot of money, but could you imagine if all the dads stood up and said, we're not going to take it. We're not. You know, I was telling somebody the other day with these false accusations, seeing as how I never went through it. And I was new to hearing it when I first got here. And even I was standoffish with these guys. But once I started realizing just how common false allegations were, especially inside of the courts, okay, I was afraid that when I started speaking about it, I'm going to be called a rape apologist or protecting pedophilia because of the allegations. People don't want to listen. They'll err on the side of caution. And that's why these allegations are so deadly. I was shocked. The more that I started speaking up about false allegations, I've never really had much pushback. I usually have, I know somebody that happened to. And I'm going to tell you, dude, it was very shocking to me. I was like, really? Because I thought the criticism was going to be really big. It is happening more than you can ever imagine. Are people speaking up about it? No, not so much. It might seem like they are, especially if you're following these groups and stuff like this here on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. It might seem like they are, but to the general population, no, they're not. But they hear somebody talking about it. Oh, I know somebody that went through that, or I went through that. I was surprised to hear some of my classmates say that they had been through it, especially people that get into new relationships, man. You're not as uncommon as they want you to think. And we need to empower you and give you a safe place to start talking. I know that's got to be hard for these guys to speak up and say, this is what my ex accused me of. This is what they're saying I'm doing. And I'm going to tell you, most of the time, a guilty person is not going to speak. Okay. I'm not saying that's clear cut by no means, but, yeah, man, like I said, you're not alone, guys. You continue getting these conversations out, and to that father right there, man. Thank you. Thank you for venting and telling your story. We need more of you doing it. All right, I'm going to get to this next call, 762-441-0281.
My name is Calvin Evans. I live in Colorado, currently living in Denver. I do security, for the Department of Homeland Security. And my situation is this. I am one of 5 men that were falsely accused of abusing their kids. Department of Human Services in our county, Delta County that is, wound up doing a bunch of investigations, coming to find out that the women that were involved, including my ex, created a group that helped other women to be able to get even with their exes by falsely making false accusations and then defaming them in the community. So after a number of years of dealing with that process and problems and parental alienation with my children, I've been fighting back by exposing what these people are doing, to the point that I am now reporting to law enforcement who has it all the biggest thing that I want to encourage everybody to do is don't stop sharing what's happening. Don't give up. You keep talking. You keep exposing what these individuals are doing, how local governments are helping them in order to stuff their own pockets with funds and money, and you never, ever give up, ever. Get friends, get support. That's what I've been doing, and this has been going on since 2018 for me. I'm seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm thankful for the support, and I'm wanting to call to share my experience of other men that I know that have gone through this, and how these people, these women, feel like they can continue to do this and try and hurt others without any repercussions. I tell you the truth. Those things that are done in darkness will be revealed in the light. So my hope is to encourage those that are listening, understand that it's a hard process, it's a long process, and if you're a good parent and you are doing all that you can to support, you keep following and towing the line, doing what's right, report as often as you possibly can, expose what these people are doing, and get into a group of support that can help, encourage, especially when times are tough and you're feeling down. Again, my name is Calvin Evans, calling from the Denver, Colorado area, as well as the western slope near Delta County, where I have been wrongly accused along with other men, and we are rising up, expressing what's been happening, telling anyone. My name is...
Dude, I mean, kind of tagging along with what I just said with the last caller. There you go, wrongfully accused. You know, Colorado, man, it's crazy. He's calling in from Colorado. We just got back from there. And you would never know some of the corruption that's going on by seeing that community. I had some of the locals telling me, like, oh, this is a bad area, dude. If you go over here, you're going to see this and you're going to see that. And then I go and see these nice little cozy homes with the snow. And I'm like, this looks like an amazing community. But then I get to hear some of the stories that's going on. Don't judge a book by its cover. I'm going to be very careful with my words here because I had the opportunity to talk to somebody I really respect. I'll just say he was really high up in the courts. He got to see the case that we were out there reporting on with Sophia, who lost her life. You guys know how much I loathe attorneys. Or have I told you before? Do you know how much I dislike attorneys? I can tell you. If you want to know, I think you guys get the idea. I trust a wet fart more than I do an attorney. It's really not funny. That wasn't a joke. I do. Anyway, and I think they stink more than those do. But there was an attorney that got to see that case. And it was one of the most heartfelt conversations I had ever had. He was talking about, like, empathy overload. Been doing this for almost 20 years. And then this one case comes by that just completely rocks the world, and it's never the same again. The case almost drove him to alcoholism, not being able to sleep at night, not even being able to do their career because of what the damage that they were seeing being done in that community and with the kids. And I remember when I was speaking to him, I told him about my dislike for attorneys. Is they wanted to tune into the show. And so hearing that an attorney wanted to watch in, I was like, I'm just gonna let you know I'm pretty critical. He's like, oh, family lawyers are trash. It's like this whole system needs to be completely revamped. And I was like, okay, you're a friend. I was like, as long as you can admit that, you know. So there is some of the good ones out there, man. But yeah, man, the Colorado, it was blowing my mind just to hear some of the crap that was going on out there. You would have never known, like, one of the local communities that we was in was just like a crystal meth town. It was ridiculous. And it's a mom state. You know, I feel sorry for these dads. They can have all the evidence in the world, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you live in one of those states with one of these judges that has that traditional mindset. Mom is always going to be best. Yeah. Well, I just went and covered 2 stories where the dad spoke up against the moms. They didn't do anything, and both of the children are dead. And those aren't special cases, because I could go on right now and show you so many other cases. Again, the public spotlight right now is on Murdow because it was a man that killed a woman. Why wasn't John Mast on there? Why wasn't Justin Goolsby on there? Chad Reed, all these other, they don't care about it. There is a lack of empathy and a lack of sympathy for men. Guys, keep speaking up about those wrongful accusations. If you don't speak about it and you don't tell people what's going on, they're never going to know. And again, I know it might not be easy, but what I would suggest is, one thing I've seen is people try to do it as a lone ranger. Like, I'm just going to tell my story and it's going to change the family court. So you got one story. Imagine if you had 1,000 other guys beside you saying, that's my story too, especially in your area. That's when you start getting power. And we got to realize the power in numbers, right? So, and that's what we're going to do here. That's why we're going to get on to the next voicemail, 762-441-0281. A big appreciation out to the last caller. Great caller, man. Keep these voicemails coming in.
Hey, good morning. My name is Mike. I'm from Massachusetts. First of all, I want to say thank you for what you're doing here. Is getting the word out about fathers being abused by the system is fantastic. I don't think the public generally knows. One of the things that upsets me is I keep hearing people say how I'm a single mother. I'm a single mother. Well, if you're taking child support and the father's visiting the child and the father is trying to see the child more, you're not a single mother. Welcome to the club. It's called hard work. It's called life. But with regard to child support, I got to say this. What I don't like is the fact that mom gets all the money, and if you spend any extra, if you buy your son a suit for his confirmation, if you buy your daughter a pair of sneakers for basketball, it doesn't count. They say, nope, that's money you wanted to spend. But mom gets all kinds of money. And the other thing I don't like, and many people agree with me, is the whole lifestyle. They got to be maintained in a lifestyle. No, a kid that grows up in a $50 million mansion eats about the same as a kid that grows up in the projects. Let's not overinflate things here. It's done to suck money out of people, and there's a lot of people upset about it. We got to get the word out. I know a lot of my friends that were divorced, and they had to move back in with their parents, or they had to move in with their sisters, and they have no money. And mom's got the house and all the possessions and child support, and it gets old after a while. It gets old. I've been doing it for over 20 years now. My oldest is about to be graduating out of the system, and I'm pretty happy about that. But it's not fair to men. We need to stop this toxic feminism. Thank you, and God bless.
I like that guy. I kind of want to play it again. He hit it, the nail on the head with that one. Dude, it's true. I mean, I understand the lifestyle, but a kid that grows up in $1 million or $1 billion lifestyle is no different to raise than it is a regular kid. But we judge based upon a percentage of the paycheck. That's where child support should be based upon the needs of the child more than a percentage of the paycheck. But Uncle Sam doesn't get their percentages if we do it that way, guy. Understand that, right? Yeah, I loved it. It's everybody, agreed with all of it. I'm gonna keep on going, guys. Let's keep the other voicemails coming through. 762-441-0281.
Hey, Dad Talk. Robert Brewer here. I'm in Idaho. I pay $600 a month in child support for one child based off of my income. Not sure why this judge thinks it's a fair. I can't even live. I mean, that's $600 a month that out of my pocket, which is fine. It's going to my child. I get that. But how do I live? Just a question. Keep it going, Eric. Thank you.
Oh, that one was quick. I was still drinking my coffee. I had a dad joke come out of that. Do you think your state was named after a promiscuous wife, ex-wife? Idaho. Come on now. Anyway. Dude, I mean, that was the thing. Even like when I was going, through my child support battles, I became a very young father. Did I pay a ton of money? $300 a month. At the same time, I was making like $10 an hour. I was working my butt off. And I watched the assistants that would come on the other side. Well, not only the assistants, but I didn't just want to be a paycheck. I wanted to be a dad. But in order to get that, I had to, go this route. Dude, the first time that I had to get an attorney, okay, was a very big wake-up call for me. I tell you guys, Christmas, 2004 or 2005, I find out wife's taken off, met a new man, and I'm there with my 1-year-old daughter crying on my chest. I was still a very immature guy. I didn't make much money. I was waiting for that next month to roll by because, like a lot of us, especially early on, the income tax money, I was needing it to be able to provide some of the things that I got with my family. You know what ended up happening? I ended up having to go and get an attorney. And I remember I got like $5,000 back on that income tax, and I had to sign the whole thing over to that attorney. Me and my daughter ate a lot of ramen noodles, and we ate a lot of frozen burritos. To this day, I think she's a big fan of frozen burritos, and that was my fault. And the frozen, like Mr. P's, I don't know what they're called in your neck of the woods. They're like 69-cent pizzas. Yeah, I couldn't even get the Red Baron, man. That sucks. But I liked them. But we had no money to live on, and especially being like 21 years old, dude, it was rough. I remember doing everything this attorney told me, and then gave him every dime I had. And then he told me, case is over. You've paid everything. And I was like, are you sure? I'm not going to have to pay anything else. Nope. I think like 4 or 5 months goes by. I get this letter in the mail. I remember reading it. I had to make a telephone call, and he typed up what he said in that telephone call. It was like 2 sentences. There was a bill for $500. Man, I was livid. And I remember calling him and telling him what kind of position that was putting me in. Hey, dude, I have to raise my daughter. I don't even have $500 right now. And you're wanting to take that? I became the scum of the earth because, man, I helped you. I went the extra mile. I did all this for you. I can't believe you would do this. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. And he didn't have to go the extra mile for me. It was uncontested, man. She signed. We didn't have to go to court. We didn't have to do anything. $5,500 for an uncontested divorce for a 21-year-old father who was still a kid, and now he's having to raise a kid? Is that what it costs to get that paperwork done? I mean, what did I have to do? I'm sitting here with my daughter on my chest at Christmas. Did I really have to go get paperwork to say, look, I need to make sure I can take care of her? They took everything we had. Let me tell you something. There is not one bit of remorse from these attorneys. Not one bit of remorse. And that's what I'll tell you guys. And I've said it before. Make sure those of you that are going through this, new divorce, or that are going through these issues, your attorney is not your therapist guy. No, listen. And I didn't do that back then, but I just know how many people do. They feel like they need to vent, that they don't have anybody that'll listen. That's why I think it's important for you to come vent at Dad Talk and realize how many people there is out there that's going on, because a lot of these guys isolate. When they finally get to talk to their attorney that's got their future in their hands, oh, I got to tell you this. This is what they did. Look at this text message. Hey, look at what they're putting on social media. Look what they're doing. It's driving me crazy, attorney. It's driving me crazy. And they're okay. They're okay. And that bill just keeps going up, man. The fact that your family has price tags on it, dude. And the fact that it's got a price tag on it pisses me off. But what pisses me off even more is they get you in the lowest parts of your life. When your family is breaking up, when you're fighting for your kids, they find you at your lowest point. And if you're a dad, the system is stacked against you, to the point that you will do everything that you can in order to be able to get those kids. You'll do everything you can. And if it doesn't turn out the way that you wanted it to in the beginning, you'll keep paying because you're going to keep trying. They know how much money you got in the bank. He knew I had that $5,000 income tax check coming. And you know what? He knew how to take every single penny of it for an uncontested divorce. He knew what I had coming. Did he care about what happened to me afterwards? A lot of these guys, they could give a crap less, and they get you at your broken state because they want to sell you some hope. And that's what pisses me off about this community. There's so many different people. Again, like I was saying yesterday, there's a part of me with the attorneys. Do I feel sorry for you? A little bit, but not much. I know it's your livelihood. You base your whole livelihood off of this, went to school, paid it. But if you see what's going on in the family courts and you're choosing your livelihood over this, that's a telltale sign. If you call yourself an expert in family law and you're not trying to completely get these courts torn down, what makes you an expert? Seriously, what makes an expert in family court? Is there such a thing as an expert? I'm going to get on a soapbox, guys. I struggle with it sometimes. I don't always have the words to tell you like I wish I did. But being one of you guys, there is every time one of these voicemails playing, there's something that's triggering inside of me. It goes back to that guy, that broken down guy that was saying, I wish I had people that understood me. I wish I had a platform I could go to get some resources and just feel like I'm not alone, man. That's what this was made for, guys. Use it. Utilize it. Please. The more men see other men speak up, the more empowered they get. They do. And you need other men to speak to. There's people that sit there and tell you everything you want to hear and act like they're there for you, man. I tell you what, it's in your darkest moments you usually find out who your real friends are. You find out who's actually there for you. That attorney was your best friend until the bill came out. This person was close to you until you needed something from them, right? It really is those dark moments that you find out what life is really like. Some people don't make it out of there. They don't. If I'm being honest with you, I understand that fight. Like I said, I understand why sometimes guys have to walk away. You know, especially if you've already got a family or you got other people that you got to take care of. It's like, what do I do? Go and completely bankrupt myself and lose everything with something that I still don't know if I'm going to get it? Or do I say, let me wait until I can? But if you wait until you can, then it's going to get stacked against you anymore. We don't care that you have financial situations going on. We don't care that you got other kids to take care of. We don't care that you got a house, that you got a job and all this. All we need and all we want to know is, why aren't you putting money into this system? And if you're not, you're the scum of the earth, man. Thieves, man. Thieves. I know who the scum of the earth is. I don't want to make money on broken families. No, sir. There's plenty of people that do. All right. I got another voicemail coming up for you guys. 762-441-0281.
What's up, Eric? Chris Clay out of Dallas, Texas. Saw your post this morning asking for child support views, etc. I've seen kind of both sides of it. I was paying child support, and it's basically a blank check, no accountability, written off to my daughter's mother. And she passed away, and then I started receiving Social Security money for my daughter. Well, the difference is the Social Security money, we don't use all that money on a monthly basis. It's too much, to tell you the truth. And then I have to keep receipts because the government sees it as their money, and I have to keep receipts on it.
So they want accountability when it's their money, but when it's your money, you're just a deadbeat dad. You're bitter. You shouldn't ask for receipts, but we want them. Do as I say, not as I do. That's Uncle Sam.
In case I'm audited, and it's kind of conflicting because child support, shouldn't the parent have to keep receipts? And if they're not using enough, which if you're getting child support, you're going to use it all, right? That's the key. But, you know, I am nowhere near able to use the amount of Social Security money that my daughter receives, and child support is just transferring wealth of one individual to the other without any accountability to make sure that they're using it correctly. So that's my take on it. Hope you're well, man. Love you. Take care.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Chris, man, is one of those stories. There's certain stories, I think, in this community that really inflame people. He's one of them. Okay. I think paternity fraud, it's bad enough when you guys are going through this system. Imagine if you was doing it for a kid that you've proved is not yours and you're being shamed that you're not paying for this kid, that paternity fraud was going on. Yeah, I've probably told you before, but for those of you that doesn't know, the fact that he's talking about this, and thank you for continuing to speak up. He had a very, very public battle, and it got very ugly there in the state of Texas. He had 50-50 of his kid with the mom. Even though he had 50-50, he was paying child support. She was dating somebody. They had been together for like 6 or 9 months. She died in an accident. It was very unfortunate. He was very sympathetic to that. What would you imagine is going to happen if 2 parents had 50-50 and one of them dies? Naturally, can you guys answer that for me in the comments? I'm just curious before I go any further. If there was a parent that died and there was 50-50, what do you think should happen with the child? Automatically, what makes sense? Wait. Anyway, I know what's going on. He should get custody of his child, right? Because mom's no longer alive. No. Boyfriend wanted to lay claim to his daughter. Wanted custody of his daughter. Now, do you think the courts would even hear a case like that? They did. Chris spent $300,000 and a lot of time in family court winning custody of his daughter that he already had 50-50 custody of from a boyfriend. A boyfriend, guys. How is that legal? That's the state of Texas for you, man. So like I said, I know the paternity fraud and stuff inflames you, but could you imagine having to fight Mighty Mouse for custody of your own child and it costing the same as fighting the mom? There was a lot of money that got made in on that. What I would like to, pose to Chris is, since this guy felt like he had claim to your daughter, is he paying you child support now? Because I highly doubt it. Did he have to pay back any of those legal fees? Because I highly doubt it. The fact that they would even allow this is why I talk about the bias in family courts. Would that have happened if it was a girlfriend? I wish I had the Jeopardy theme. Would that have happened if it was a girlfriend fighting a mom for custody of a child? We would not be sitting here having that conversation. But here he goes talking about all those years that he paid in child support. So now he's getting Social Security because mom has passed away. When he wanted receipts, dude, how dare you? You're just being bitter. Now that Social Security money's coming out and Uncle Sam's having to foot the bill, I want to know every little thing. I want to know every little thing that you're spending that money on, because that's our money. We want you accountable. There needs to be accountability. You don't just go around spending that money. Again, do as I say, not as I do. I mean, what's that, guys, make you think of? What would you feel if you knew you had to fight a boyfriend in the court? This is the kind of stuff that makes people go crazy. Okay, I'm scrolling back through the comments. If you got some comments, bring it up. I'm going to talk to you for a little bit longer. Jewel said, read Gwen's post above. I already read it. But for you guys that haven't seen it, make sure to scroll through the comments and you'll get a little update on what's going on with Jeff Younger. Sean Best said, it's better now than it was 8 years ago. Keep pushing. Look, guys, am I saying it's getting better in the family courts? No, but the public awareness is getting out there. It's not getting out there as quickly as we'd like it to. Some of the things, again, that we have in the works, I think are going to be an answer and a solution to some of the stuff that we've been waiting on. Is public awareness everything that needs to be done? No. I hate when you hear the comments like, we got to stop talking and we got to start doing something. Dude, we've been all over the country. Where you guys been? For the ones that keep saying, hey, we need a march. We showed up to them. You didn't. And I've been to enough of them to tell you, it's not what you think it is. There is a lot of challenges that goes on. But in order to be able to get the people involved that we're going to need involved, you're going to need awareness. Okay? And part of that awareness is just guys learning how to speak up and saying, this is what's going on, feeling empowered and able to do it. But yeah. Let me scroll through some of these. Thanks, man. I sure do appreciate it. Joseph, I'm guessing you're laughing at the Idaho comment. Or, oh, no. I guess the wet fart and the attorneys. Dude, it really was. It was very cool to see an attorney that was so passionate. You know, he didn't get in there thinking that he was going to see what he was seeing, but seeing the PTSD he's got from these cases. There was one attorney that we talked to that actually has Sophia's picture blown up, hanging up in his office. And I asked him why. He's like, that is a case that I'll never be able to get past, seeing what happened to her. I've seen a lot of stuff, but knowing there was a 5-year-old girl that lost her life. And one of the best comments that I think I heard him say is where the system gets it wrong is they need to start learning how to be proactive instead of reactive. Many times they'll react after something happens, but they had every chance in the world to be proactive, and they didn't do it. Yep. Love Life Truth on YouTube said, my son has full custody of his son and has not gotten a penny of child support, and it has been 4 years, and the mother moves every 3 to 4 months every time. We are done looking for her. Well, dude, in my personal case, again, I've been somebody that's paid child support, and I've been somebody that received it. If I got late on child support, I had something in the mail saying I'm about to lose my license. I could get 1 month behind due to no fault of my own. I was trying. There was even a part in time, guys. What do most of us do when we start getting behind on family court or child support? Well, there's nothing we can do. We have to pay it, right? I went and got another job. I was working 17 and 18-hour days, man, sleeping 4 and 5 hours a night, and with a 2-hour commute to work. I'm talking about exhausted. My life existed to work. I went to work while my family was still asleep. I came home and my family was asleep. And on the weekends, all I did was sleep because my body was so broken down. And I get this second job hoping that I could have some money to take care of my kids, maybe to buy them some food, maybe to buy them some clothes, maybe to even take them to a movie and have some fun. And what happened? They was already taking the full child support out of my first paycheck, which is why I was so low on money. They started taking the full amount out of my second check as well. I started having to pay money to work the second job that was supposed to give me the relief, right? That went on for a year. I called the child support office. You are double dipping. You are charging me twice my child support, and I'm only supposed to pay once. Please stop it. They said there was nothing that they could do. And finally, after a year of just like about to go out of my mind because they're taking all of my money, and I was saying, give me my money back. I needed that money. I am not a deadbeat father. I am a guy that is working himself to the bone. What you're doing is criminal here. You know what they said to me, guys? You won't get that money back, Eric. What we'll do is before your child turns 18, we'll make you stop paying a couple of months sooner. Well, guess what? I ended up getting custody of that child at one point. There was never any credit on that. They got a whole year of extra child support that I never seen a dime come back. And they made my life a living hell, guys. Yeah, I get a chip on my shoulder from them. Absolutely. I wonder how many of you guys have went through that where they're double dipping. Todd, they only hold dad accountable. Mom is caution that they weigh the side of. They do, man. It is one of those things that they don't want to be criticized for doing this to a mom, so they'll just completely go against a dad because it's so common. We've allowed them to let it become common. And nothing ticks me off more than these dads is, I won in family court, so they said too, you're just not doing enough. Well, dude, you're so amazing. Can we give a hand clap to those guys that think that their case is what speaks for the rest of the world and that they're the only ones that matter? Guy, you're so awesome. I wish every single one of us could be just like you. You know, if we could only be more like those guys, right? because they're so smart, they're so special, and their stories speak for all of us, right? I mean, in every state, in every country, all these other stories don't matter because that guy won custody and he had a judge and attorney that did the right thing. Those guys piss me off. I mean, they do, man. Sometimes they piss me off more than, you know, some of the moms that do that. They really do. Because it's like they just don't even want to hear what one of you guys are going through. And guys having other guys and encouraging them to speak up when they meet that type of guy makes them shut up even more. So that's why I say it pisses me off. We spend every single day here trying to get these stories out and encouraging guys that are isolating and dealing with this depression and thinking that they don't matter, contemplate not even being on this earth anymore. And then you're sitting there telling them that they're ridiculous for what they're going through. If that ain't a bully. MJ, I'm sorry to hear that. He said, I got home from Iraq and went straight to the courthouse. Dude, I am surprised at how many veterans don't realize how many other veterans are going through that. Are the veterans not speaking about this? When I bring it up to some of the veterans, like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, I don't know if they're not keeping in contact after the battlefield or what's going on, but I know how many of them are going through it. I do. And that their service is being used against them. There are so many people unaware of what's going on. And I think that is a really good angle that, you know, if you want to talk to the politicians, ask them why they're turning a blind eye to the Veterans and Family Court. Because I guarantee you on all the holidays coming up, thank a veteran, thank a veteran. Yeah, you sure know how to thank veterans, don't you? You screw them every single day, not just in the family courts, but with their benefits and everything else. I had a father that passed away at that VA hospital with a freaking kidney stone. They treat our veterans like crap. Okay. And let me tell you something, when you got one of those family members that's been treated like that, trying to get justice for them, sometimes it feels almost impossible, guys. It really does. But anyway, that is going to be it for today. Somebody said, I am freezing. I am not freezing. I'm in Georgia. It's hot here. It is not freezing. I was freezing last week. I don't know if my computer's freezing. I don't know. There's been a lot of glitches going on the Facebook here recently. I was actually talking to them about it yesterday. I have no control over that, guys. For once, it's not my internet signal. It usually is. I know when it's my internet signal because I start freezing up too. Jeremy said, I'm scared to go to the VA in Atlanta. No, that's where my father passed away. That's where my grandfather passed away. Yeah, man. The veterans need their own group. You know, I am talking about going and actually taking a course alongside some of the veterans that are facing this trauma. I got invited today because I want to be able to better understand you guys. It hurts my heart when I know sometimes I don't have the answers, you know, and there's no shortage of people. You need to do this. You need to do this. Okay. You need to do something too, damn it. We're doing everything we can. But at the same time, I want to be able to go and hear the stories and maybe be able to tap into what is it that you guys are dealing with. You know, I had a buddy I went to school with. I won't say his name. He was talking to me the other day about what it was like over there in Iraq and some of the things that they're having to deal with since they've got back home. You know, one of his jobs was loading up the transfers, man, the bodies on the planes to send back. He said, you know, he felt like a pallbearer sometimes more than he felt like, you know, just a regular human being. And he was a goofy guy back in school, very loving guy. I wouldn't hurt a fly, and just seeing the age that it's put on him. And some of these veterans have seen things that nobody should ever have to experience. Right? But imagine a soldier having a struggle from what they went and saw overseas. And because they fought for your country and they saw that, and now they have the trauma from it, he doesn't need his kid. He's a bad person. You know why he's a bad person? Because he served us. Because we put him overseas. We're the ones that put him in those situations where they got exposed to chemicals and where they went to war and they had to fight that war for us. So they're a bad person, all because they served us. You don't need custody of your kids, and we don't have anything to help you. That's really like the spit in the face that this country gives to the freaking veterans, man. That needs to become a whole show. How about that tomorrow? I want to hear from all the veterans that are on there. Phone lines are open. I'm going to go ahead and open them up. I want to hear about your experience in family court, if you've been a veteran, and how your service was used against you. If you're hearing me and you're one that's went through it, don't you dare think that I'm not going to call. If you got to use an alias or whatever, do it. The phone line is 762-441-0281. Again, that's 762-441-0281. If you get on the wall, I've got it posted several times. I'll be doing it again in the morning. And I want to get those voicemails, because the more I hear from you guys, the more I learn. The more I hear about your stories, the more I realize that I don't know. And just a second that you think you've heard it all, something else happens, right? It's crazy, man. I am sorry for any of you that did that. I'm seeing some of the comments, man. Guys, speak up. Speak up. A lot of these guys with that PTSD don't speak because they don't think that the world is going to understand them. It reminds me of that Goo Goo Doll song. I don't want the world to see me because I don't think that they'd understand. There is guys that understand. Don't feed that crap in your head. Because here's the thing. Sometimes you got to face your fears. You got to face the trauma so that you can get healthy and get in this fight. We need healthy people in this fight. People are wanting to march. They're wanting to do all these things. You got to understand, these are hurting people. Some of them aren't ready. Some of them aren't ready. We got to get some healing going on in here. What is the solutions behind this family court? First, let's get our guys healed. Let's make sure those suicide rates start coming back down. Let's make sure that these dads start feeling appreciated, that they're not calling up and choking up on that phone, sounding like a defeated purpose or a defeated person. Can we get some healing going on so that they can see some purpose behind their life, see some purpose behind that pain? That is a solution. That's one of them. That's something that we can do in the meantime, right? Absolutely. Oh, here you go, guys. I am going to pop the number up on the screen. There you go. Go ahead and write it down. Leave it for me if you get it in there. You guys, be careful what you say, okay? But as long as you're not cussing and it's something I can bring up, we want to use them. So make sure that you're bringing it in there. Love, life, truth. You're talking about the two sons that are a VA, went to Iraq. I want to hear from them. Let's get this out there. Definitely. While you guys are writing down the number and while I'm wrapping up the show, I'll touch on something I saw you say up above, Deborah, about the boy crisis. If you haven't read this book, man, great book. Warren has been a great friend of mine, great mentor. He's one of the meetings that I'm going to after this. We got some surprise, some stuff we're doing with Warren that I think you guys are really going to be proud of. And so I just need you to tune in. I'm getting together to strategize with him in just a minute. But if you have not read this book, Why Our Boys Are Struggling and What We Can Do About It, this tells you what are some of the solutions and what are some of the problems that they're going through. He's also got some other amazing books, dude. I think one of the most amazing books in the whole men's rights, father's rights space is The Myth of Male Power. If you have not read that, going back, seeing how long he's been in here, do you know this guy lost to the tune of around $25 million by leaving the feminist movement to talk about men? Because he was one of the head at the National Organization of Women. He lost millions of dollars by doing the right thing. He was shunned. He was talking about men before it was cool to talk about men. You think I face opposition with some of the stuff I do? You should see what that guy went through, right? I mean, when they was really in the crux of that old mindset about how women are best, like Warren was sounding the alarm way before that. When we were traveling around the country a couple of weeks ago, I sent one of my film crews to go get some stuff from Warren. So he's going to have some cameos in some of these. Warren is about to turn 80. That is a walking encyclopedia of knowledge behind what goes on. And I think one of the things I am wanting to, I'm wanting Warren to show is the challenges that he's went through, you know, with these issues. I love having people like him or a Paul Elam or Carnell Smith that I can go to and say, guys, I'm at this intersection right now. Yeah, because I really look for the overall direction of this movement when I'm thinking about anything that we're doing. This is kind of what I'm thinking. Is it something that you've already done numerous times, or am I on the right track? You know, it's been really good to see it. And I'm going to tell you, there's been things that they said, Eric, I think this is why you're getting some of the reaction from these certain individuals or these politicians. And I'd be like, that sounds ludicrous. And then later on, like, they saw it. They saw it. Father X said, can we get Warren on the show? Warren's been on the show numerous times, guys. If you look up the Red Pill Roundtable, when the whole Will Smith thing went down, we had Warren and Paul Elam on. And before that, I've had Warren and Paul Elam on. And I've had just Warren on several times. But we'll probably be getting him on. Like I said, I got a little surprise coming for you guys, and I think you're going to really, really like it. So if you don't have your copy of The Boy Crisis, he was also on Jordan Peterson. If you got any Jordan Peterson fans, he's been doing a lot of work over there with Jordan Peterson. So make sure to look that up on YouTube. With that said, guys, we will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. That is 9 o'clock Central. That is 8 o'clock Mountain. And that is 7 o'clock Pacific. I feel sorry for you Pacific guys. I was there last week. So to watch this show, you have to be up at 7 a.m. Do we have any Pacific Standard Time guys on here right now? Because if so, I want to give you a hand clap. That's dedication right there, bro. That's dedication. I'm guessing probably most of you are on the Central and East Coast. And I'm sorry that the show has went so early. I think it's been doing good at 10 a.m. You know, at least now we've got consistent programming coming out. I've never been able to do that in the history of Dad Talk. I think we're going on 4 months where we haven't missed a day in getting this programming out. So I'm very proud of that. But yeah, we'll be back. Many ways you can support the show. Dad Talk Today. No spaces. Cash App, Venmo, Patreon. Don't forget those subscriptions, memberships, and super chat stickers over there on YouTube. We got them also on Facebook. And guys, we got Father's Rights people making these. I know people think that we're probably just selling tons of gear. We're not. I'll be honest with you, we're not. But you need it. You need it. Everywhere I've been going, whether it's the courthouse, wherever. I got 2 of them going on right here. Look, dude. If that don't sell it, I don't know what will. I need the microphone. That was one of the craziest things, watching myself go in cartoon form. I'll be honest with you guys. It's kind of blew my mind. This was just an idea. And I didn't realize the revolution that we were starting with this. Although people have been talking about this for years, this is kind of like the red-headed stepchild of the advocacy world that nobody wants to pay attention to. And if you know a little bit about my history, that rock and roll rebel guy, I like being the underdog. I like being the underdog. The more people tell us that we're never going to be able to do this, they just don't realize how good it's going to taste when Goliath falls, dude. I'm looking for it. It's going to happen. I promise you. And we'll keep chipping away at that stone tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Love you guys. Hope you're well. Get those voicemails coming in. Veterans, I want to hear from you. If I don't hear from you, I'll say, well, they don't want to do it. So I'm counting on you. You want somebody to speak about you? We're doing it. 762-441-0281. Again, that's 762-441-0281. I'll speak about it, but I need you that have been in the battlefield and know what's going on to contribute. We'll see you guys. Hey, everybody. Eric Carroll here. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of Dad Talk Today. While we fight for you, we would ask for you to please help fight for us. Like, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell so you get notifications every time we go live. There's also Super Chats, patreon.com/dadtalktoday, and other ways you can support our channel. Thank you for being here, and we will